Welcome back to the Spoonie and Caregiver Life podcast with me, your host, Jordan Banderas. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes of the podcast. And let's go ahead and get into today's episode, shall we? Now, if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you might have noticed that there's no video. Now, the reason why there's no video is because we are moving, and I think I have mentioned this before, and unfortunately I packed my camera and I don't know where it is. So there's gonna be a few episodes that won't have any video, but you will actually be able to hear my wonderful voice, I guess. And let's go ahead and start today's episode, shall we? Now, a lot of us, spoonies and caregivers, have to deal with very stressful situations, right? Where we don't know if we want to keep going or want to give up. This has happened to me so many times and probably has happened to you. In my case, there has been times where I have cried myself to sleep because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going to happen next, and I didn't know what I should be doing next. But here's the thing though, I had a lot, and I mean a lot of growing up when Katie became sick and she desperately needed my help. So one of the things that I did to help myself and her was going to therapy. And I have talked about it a lot probably, and with good reason, because I haven't touched upon how therapy helped me find the right coping skills, which is something that a lot of us are trying to learn, or a lot of us don't even have. Like I said, it happened to me. Now, by me finding the right skills that have actually worked for me, and when I say skills, I mean the right coping skills, I have been able to better equip myself to handle the stress of being a caregiver in everyday life, pretty much. And in turn, this has also helped Katie not to worry about me having to take care of things when she's out of commission, which as a spoonie can happen a lot, you know? Like sometimes there's gonna be bad days, it could be a whole bad week, so it happens. Now, some of these skills that have worked for me, I just want to mention this, are meditations, mindfulness, taking cold showers. Now, you might ask on that one, how does that even help? Well, in order for you to stay on the cold shower and not like freak out and run out of the shower, you have to calm your mind. So, literally, you have to remain calm, and it helps you calm yourself down when you're in a stressful situation. So that's how it has helped me. And I also analyze the problem, talk about the issue with myself. I just talk to myself, or even talk to Katie about it. These are just examples of the skills that have worked for me, something that I have learned. But you can try something similar or different. But here's the thing though, learning these skills and putting them to practice are two completely different things, especially when you're a newbie like me, because you will put them to use often and sometimes without even expecting to use them. And I want to share this story with you guys because, like I have mentioned, we are moving, which is an excellent opportunity for us, but still the way this came to be was super stressful because our landlord raised the rent by $200. And when we talked to them and explained to them, hey, this is unfair, and we explained to them why, they decided not to renew our lease and gave us 60 days to move out. Now, you may say 60 days is plenty of time to move out, and that is correct under normal circumstances. But with the current housing market that we have right now, it is hard, extremely hard, and I'm not even joking. Probably this is happening all across the states. It is hard to find an affordable place to rent. And having to pack and prepare to move is hard, especially when you have a spoonie, because, as I have mentioned in multiple episodes, sometimes they're gonna be out of commission. So the day that we got the notice telling us that we had 60 days to move, it fell, literally, it fell like our world came crashing down, because I had to look for apartments before and they were hard to find in our price range. Because that's the thing, a lot of us have a price range. If it's too high, we might not be able to afford it. Even if it's a little bit lower, we might not be able to afford it because of having to buy prescriptions and everything that we have to pay, right? Probably you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that day felt like I was ready to snap and go on a rampage because it was so unexpected. Like, we were not expecting that, literally. And Katie saw how frustrated I was, and I saw how worried she was. So I thought to myself, I had a moment of clarity where I was like, I can't be another reason for her to worry. So I remember my coping skills and I used them. I started by taking deep breaths, like the ones that go just like that. I did like multiple times until I felt calmer. Then I started dissecting the problem. And in this case, what I did was ask myself this type of questions. The first question was, is this something that I could have prevented? In this case, the answer is yes, but only by us paying the extra $200 a month. And because we didn't think that was fair to us, I move on to the next part, which is, what do I need to do in this situation? In my case, all I had to do was find a new place, so I talked to Katie and we both agreed that we were going to look for a new place to live and that we were going to work on this together, right? So that's pretty much something that we did, and thankfully, literally, thankfully, we found a new place that Katie loves and she feels safe, and it's within our budget. Now, if I hadn't used my coping skills, the story will be different. I would have probably snapped and start yelling and cussing and make a big scene. Probably a lot of us do that. But because I remained calm, I assured Katie that everything will be okay, and she knew that she didn't have to worry about anything. Now, this is how my coping skills helped me, right? Like, I was able to use my coping skills and it helped me this way because I wanted to help my wife. But as spoonies and caregivers, a lot of spoonies and caregivers may not have any coping skills, just like I did when my wife became sick. But we can all learn them, and as caregivers, I think that us as caregivers, we must learn them so our spoonies can learn them from us. As John Maxwell says, people do what people see. And to be honest, I have also seen Katie use some of some of the same coping skills that I use, which is fantastic to see because she's starting to handle stress better. I have noticed that, and I always tell her that she's doing a good job. But it only took us 4 years to start doing this. But at least we decided to start. That's one thing. You have to decide to start on working on these scoping skills, because it is hard since we are used to reacting a certain way and we have done that for so long. Some of us have done it for like 30 years, just like me. Some people have done it for longer or even less time, depending on how old you are and how you were raised. So if you decide to start using coping skills, know that they are like a muscle. The more you use them, the easier it gets. But you might not be able to use them right away and all the time, since this is something very, very new. It's gonna feel out of the norm for you. So if you run into a situation and forget about these skills, figure out why it happened, so next time you can be ready to use that new mental muscle you're working on. And this is something that has happened to me a lot, where sometimes I just react, I just go like animalistic, like I start to snap. But then I'm like, okay, how come this happened? Like I dissect the issue, and it has helped me a lot. That's why I wanted to talk about this, because especially with everything that is going on right now, with the pandemic and everything, we are under a lot of stress. Especially if you're having to find a new place to live, or you want to sell your house, and you know you're not able to buy the house that you want. So there's so many things that are happening right now that are going to put you under a lot of stress. And I really, really, really think that by us having coping skills, we're going to be able to deal with everything that's going on a lot better, because I have seen it in myself and I have seen it with Katie. But like I said, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. Again, thank you for all your support. Thank you for your feedback. I really, really, really appreciate it. And thank you for your comments and everything. We are growing. We are actually getting more views and more listens. All thanks to you. So with that said, I'm just gonna say this: don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Also, you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you want to share your story, you can post it on our Facebook community, or you can email it to me at the Spoonie and Caregiver life@gmail.com. And I'll leave you like always. Always take care of yourself and have a great day.